Oh, Lydia.
Encyclopedia. Oh, Lydia the tattoo. Baby. No, not baby.
Lydia the tattoo lady. You want this one? No. You want this one? Let's play Lydia, okay? The encyclopedia. Is that the one that Kermit the Frog sings? Oh, yeah, right. Okay, you back away from that television, for God's sake. It's like 55 inches wide, and you stand directly in front of it. No, I don't think he cares to. No. All right, Lydia, the tattoo lady. All right, so which one? Okay, we'll do Kermit and Lydia. You want Kermit to do it? Here it is.
Characters, Towers of Time.
Miss Sexy Pants.
Come on, smile. Is it so cool, dude? Oh, she tattooed the Battle of Waterloo on her back? Holy cow! Damn, she's an historical time leader.
He's George the Muppets. He's got some of the folks the torso and the torso even more so.
Really?
It's a pretty horny
She
song.
knows all the words, huh?
Yep.
Dad, what do you think? You think Nate will shower today and wash his hair?
I hope so.
Brush his teeth?
Will be coming soon.
The what?
The funk lease.
Uh-huh.
So,
And you're still scratching your chin, dude. Why are you doing that when you have
because it
lotion?
hurts and shit.
So why you put the lotion on?
Good point.
Yeah. Back away. Back away. Back away. Yeah. Because, no. Of course not. Okay.
Friendship. Mileena wins.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the moments in anime where memorable villains perished in ways that left fans feeling sympathetic and full of sorrow. Number 20, Kurome, Akameka Kill. Unlike her sister who chose to rebel against the Empire, Kurome became one of its most lethal enforcers.
わずかな自由など必要ない。私の願いは一つだけ。
Not only was she brainwashed by the Empire into becoming a ruthless killer, but due to the nature of her Tegu, not even death can save Kurome's victims from becoming her playthings. Unable to turn against her twisted masters, Kurome is eventually forced to confront her sister in a no-holds-barred fight to the death. Sadly, unlike her manga counterparts, Kurome doesn't get to enjoy a happy ending in the anime and dies at the hands of her beloved sister. Even with all the suffering she caused, it's still heartbreaking to witness how Kurome's demise impacts the few people who genuinely care for her.
Oh, yeah.
Wamu, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Unlike his masters, Wamu lived, fought, and died following the warrior code. During his final confrontation against Joseph Joestar, Wamu pulls out all the stops to defeat his human rival. He even goes so far as to destroy his own body to achieve victory. In the end, even with his superhuman abilities, he's ultimately no match for JoJo's cunning nature. He pulls off an impossible win with a little help from a fallen comrade. Despite losing to JoJo, Wamu accepts his defeat like a true warrior, and even protects JoJo from being attacked by vampire underlings. Impressed by Wamu's sense of honor, JoJo pays tribute to his fallen rival and honors him, giving him a final send-off.
와무와 가색
We're about to.
저조가 무의식의 우측이 덮여 있는 와 개의 모습같네요.
Number 18, Ryoko Tamiya, Parasite the Maxim. When a legion of parasitic aliens hell-bent on taking over humanity have begun their conquest, the last thing you expect to do is get emotional.
それの国は生きてゆけないただの生命体。
Mileena wins.
Ryoko is always morally ambiguous throughout the series. One minute she'd be slicing heads, the next she'd be having a baby. After giving birth to her son, she soon turned her back on her fellow parasites, only to get brutally gunned down by the police. Strange thing is, she could have easily pulled back. Didn't resist, just so she could protect her human child.
この前人間の真似をして鏡の前で大声で笑ってみた。なかなか気分が良かったぞ。
Number 17, Nephrite, Sailor Moon. A loyal servant to the nefarious Queen Beryl, Nephrite was willing to endanger innocent people by robbing them of their blood force. When his constant failures to destroy Sailor Moon threaten his standing with Queen Beryl, Nephrite attempts to redeem himself by targeting Usagi's friend and classmate Naru. Although Nephrite only intended to use Naru for the sake of his own goals, he eventually came to genuinely care for her. His desire to protect Naru is so strong that he even ignores an opportunity to destroy Sailor Moon to save her from Tsuyama, and even takes a lethal blow for her.
All the ways that matter.
Nephrite's final moments are so heartbreaking that even the Sailor Guardians can't help but shed tears for their fallen enemy. Number 16, Gilda Ray, Drifters. To join the all-powerful Ents, you need one thing, hatred. And the serial-killing Marshal of France, Gilda Ray, is no stranger to that. Standing defiantly beside his love, Joan of Arc, the big guy proves to be a one-man wrecking crew. However, despite this evil allegiance, Gil still got an emotional send-off. In his final moments, Gil recalls that he committed his infamous acts of evil so that he could follow Joan, who had been tried as a witch, into hell. Seconds later, he crumbles into salt, vanishes from history forever. Number 15, Narumi Asai, aka Seiji Aso, Detective Conan. From victim to villain, Seiji's form of race is as tragic as they come. Driven by the desire to avenge his family, Seiji goes on a killing spree, targeting the true culprits behind their tragic demise. Unfortunately, when Seiji's actions and true identity are discovered by Conan, he traps himself in a burning building with the intent of leaving this world the same way his father did. Despite Conan's best efforts to convince Seiji to live and honor his father's final wishes, Seiji refuses due to the severity of his sins. Fortunately, he has enough time for one last act of altruism by saving Conan. Conan's failure to save Seiji affected him so much that he considers it his greatest failure.
How did you
Number Number 14, Seraph Dragneil.
my father's
Fairy
rightful
tale.
heir.
All he wanted was to bring his brother back to life. Instead, he suffered a fate far worse than death. On conducting research into reviving the dead, Seraph unfortunately stumbled the wrong god that was struck with a terrifying curse. It forced him to kill every living thing around him. If that wasn't bad enough, this curse also caused Seraph to become known as the most evil mage in history, and warped his personality to the point where he sought to destroy the world that rejected him. It isn't until Seraph's mother, Avis, finally confesses her love for him that his curse of contradiction is finally broken, allowing them both to die peacefully in each other's arms. Number 13, Toshi Fushiguro, Jujutsu Kaisen. His traumatic upbringing turned him into a sorcerer-killing machine, so dangerous that even his own family feared him. However, even a beast like Toshi can't help but look out for his kid. During a confrontation with a young Gojo, Toshi initially appears to have the upper hand. Unfortunately, his actions end up helping Gojo ascend to even greater heights. This, along with the fact he murdered Gojo's friend Riko Amanai, seals his fate. Before dying, Toshi mentions his son Megumi to Gojo, causing a domino effect that grants Megumi a better life away from the Zenith clan's influence, and proving that deep down, Toshi may have heard about him. Number 12, Hiro Shishigami, Inuyashiki. Both Shishigami and Mr. Inuyashiki were unfortunate enough to be caught in a mysterious explosion, resulting with their bodies being replaced with powerful robotic copies.
My sister wears the crown. I am the empress that outlaw deserves. But I am the one
And that is where their similarities end. While Inuyashiki uses his newfound powers for good, Shishigami goes on a murdering rampage. So he was pretty much the last person we expected to help stop a meteor from destroying Earth. Finally seeing the error of his ways, the violent youth activates his self-destruct module in hopes of saving those he loves. Despite the dark path the hero walks down, his sacrifice shows us the tragedy that what was a villain could have truly been a hero.
Round 2. Fight.
Number 11, Vegeta's first death. Dragon Ball Z. Vegeta's no stranger to death, but the experience of his first demise was truly something else. During his time serving Frieza, Vegeta destroyed numerous worlds and claimed many lives. The fact he had an inflated ego only added to his merciless nature. It wasn't until Vegeta came face to face with Frieza's full power that he finally got a taste of what it's like to be a victim. As he drowns in despair against an unstoppable foe, Vegeta is powerless to stop Frieza from breaking him, both body and spirit. In his final moments, Vegeta completely abandons his pride as he breaks down in tears and begs Goku to put an end to Frieza's reign of terror. Please! Number 10, Sensui, Yu Yu Hakusho. Out of the way, dumbass! Morality isn't always black and white. Sometimes, what you thought was right turns out to be the exact opposite. After seeing the good in demons and the evil in humans, Shinobu went into hiding, only to come out decades later to judge humans for their evil ways.
Kurama can use some kind of healing plant on him. He's not dead, he just needs some food.
So, after Yusuke is finally able to beat him with the help of his puppy, Sensei reveals the truth that he didn't desire the end of humankind, just to be killed by demons to make up for all of humanity's crimes.
I thought if I could see the world through their eyes, be a stranger in a strange land, then maybe I could understand them better.
Dying in the arms of the one person who loved him, we finally see some sort of sense in his actions. Number 9, Caster and Kuzuki, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Playbooks. Among the participants of the 5th Holy Grail War was this deadly master-servant combo.
Round 2. Fight.
Though they were major antagonists early in the series, the two meet a heartbreaking end. Yet beneath all the trickery and underhanded schemes was a love story that led Caster to sacrifice her own life for the sake of Bella. But to make things worse, the bloodshed doesn't stop there. Despite being able to walk away from the battle, Soichiro resolves to continue the fight, despite the impossible odds. Number 8, Eren, Attack on Titan. All he wanted was to be free and save his people from the Titans. Instead, he became his world's most evil villain. Upon learning that the whole world wants to wipe out all of the subjects of Ymir, Eren takes extreme measures to save his people. Thanks to the Attack Titan's power of foresight, Eren influences events in his favor and acquires the power of the Rumbling to unleash a worst-case scenario of genocidal proportions. What makes this whole affair truly tragic is that, despite his actions, Eren, more than anyone, hoped to end things peacefully. Unfortunately, even with his foresight, Eren could not change humanity's tragic fate, or fulfill his desire to spend the rest of his life with the people he loves most. Number 7, Twice, My Hero Academia. He may have been one of Japan's worst criminals, but he was also someone who would do anything for his friends. Growing up, Twice suffered several tragedies, which gradually pushed him towards the path of villainy. He even suffered a traumatic event due to his own work, which left him in an existential crisis. While society may have failed him at every turn, Twice eventually found salvation with the League of Villains, as they provided him with purpose and true friends. Unfortunately, Twice's happiness came to an end at the hands of the undercover hero, Hawks, whom he also considered a friend. With his remaining flight force, Twice sends one last clone to save his comrades, and apologizes to his friend Himiko as he expires in her arms. Number 6, Ito Kamotaro, Gintama. After being blamed for the weak health of his twin brother by his mother, Ito worked to excel in literature and martial arts to earn his family's approval, which only served to garner jealousy from everyone around him. Bitter and cynical towards people, he planned to betray his fellow Shinsengumi members in hopes of becoming its new leader. Only after having his plans foiled did he realize how important the relationships he had formed truly were, and was granted an honorable death at the hands of the Vice Commander Hijikata. Number 5, Okura, Bleach. Okura was an Arrancar with one strict belief that the human heart is non-existent. This is something he made clear after his kidnapping of Orihime and subsequent war with Ichigo. However, after the intense final battle with the substitute Shinigami, he seemed to have regained a part of his humanity, since he gets one last emotional moment with Orihime, and finally realizes what a heart is before fading away to dust. Number 4, Gyutaro and Daki, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. They may have been heartless demons that took many lives, but their tragic past makes it hard not to feel for them. Growing up in the slums of society, Gyutaro and Daki were surrounded by the worst aspects of humanity. When their hazardous lifestyle finally pushed them to the brink of death, they soon found salvation by becoming demons. For over a century, these siblings turned Yoshiwara's red light district into their hunting ground, where they tormented and devoured many people. Upon being defeated and ascending to the afterlife, Gyutaro attempts to chase Daki away to spare her from eternal damnation. However, Daki refuses to leave him, and the two reaffirm their bond before marching straight into Hell's face with the weight of their sins together. Number 3. Meruem, Hunter x Hunter. As the top Chimera ant, Meruem respected strength over everything, and due to their weakness, he only saw humans as food. Yet his mindset was challenged when he met Komugi, a young blind girl who displayed a different kind of strength to Meruem. As time passed, this admiration grew stronger, and following his poisoning, he chose to spend his last days playing Googie with Komugi.
Powers of time.
The two died alongside each other, showing that even the most inhumane of villains experience love.
Local character.
Number 2. Envy, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Envy is easily the most unlikable of all the homunculus. He's loud, he's rude, and he tends to find joy in the misery of others. And yet, despite all this, he still felt for Envy in his final moments. After the homunculus was reduced to a weak little creature, we saw exactly what he was envious of: human beings. Envy was humiliated, reduced to tears by this realization, and in his despair, he ended his life by ripping the Philosopher's Stone from his body, simultaneously ripping at our heartstrings. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Obito, Naruto Shippuden. After sacrificing his life for Kakashi and giving him his Sharingan, Obito Uchiha supposedly died. But little did we know that in the shadows, he was orchestrating something colossal. With the help of the Akatsuki, Obito started the 4th Shinobi World War, but had a change of heart at the last minute, sacrificing himself to save Kakashi once more in an attempt to atone for his past sins.
Fight.
In the Pure Lands, Obito got to see his beloved Rin once again, which, paired with his selfless sacrifice, truly redeemed the once lost soul. Which anime villain death left you feeling emotional?
At Dots, an ordinary pretzel just isn't enough, so they add savory seasoning and tempting buttery flavor into every delicious twist. Now that's enough to make you build an all-pretzel pantry. With a biometric security system.
Yeah, that's right. You're next! Watch out. That's a good movie too. You're next. Anyway, this is also a movie, and it'll probably be good, except this You're Next is not as... Even though All Might's looking sinister here. What's going on here? Is this the premise of the movie? What's going on? Anyway, this is My Hero Academia, the movie Your Next.
Pretending you don't. I know you like this guy. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yes. All for one. Yo, put him to the ground. This is like the scene. Yeah, where he points to the camera and says, hold up. Okay, so I'm not gonna know what they're saying. Which is fine. I'd rather not, honestly. Just give me visuals. Till we get a full-on trailer. So this guy thinks All Might was talking to him. This guy with the little leather face mask on. Okay, it's more like Kane, actually. Look at the hair! Okay. Get the hell out of here. All Might. Look at that. Alright, okay, alright. You know, let's watch it one more time. That was good, because I was like...
Episode of RG Sonic Character Files, exploring the histories of the inhabitants on planet Mobius. In this episode, we take a look at Sonic's faithful pet, Mutski. Ah yes, Mutski, a character whose history is not quite as in-depth as Shard's, but I'll try and highlight a majority of his noticeable appearances in the comics. He made his first appearance in the original miniseries, mostly showing up in Issue 0 and Issue 3. Here, he's just... He was one of the many roboticized Mobians to be de-roboticized by a member of the alien species known as Ben. And in issue 134, Sonic is able to understand him thanks to his universal translator. After a game of hide-and-seek, Mutski suddenly tries to attack him, but then Sonic shows up and explains to Tails that he thought that they were playing Fox Hunt, an old hide-and-defend tactic that they used to play together.
You will set my father free.
Robotnik's takeover of Mobotropolis, and would later become an apprentice to Uncle Chuck. Even in this new timeline, he wouldn't show up that often. He first appears in issue 254, where he's assisting Uncle Chuck to research the dark Gaia energy seeping out of the now-shattered planet. In issue 257, he contacts Sonic and the Freedom Fighters about Uncle Chuck and Professor Pickle being kidnapped by Robotnik's robots. In issue 281, we get a flashback scene showing a younger Mutski and Tails trying to cheer up a young and depressed Bunny Rabot who is still getting used to her robotic limbs. And of course, the occasional cameos here and there. And that concludes the history of Mutski in R2 Sonic, one of the more minor characters. Welcome back to another episode of RG Sonic Character Files as we explore the histories of the inhabitants on planet Mobius. In this episode, we take a look at the history of Dr. Robotnik's silent but deadly creation, known as the Tails Doll. Well, it's been the spooky month again, and since I've mostly been frantically trying to finish the 100th episode special of the Unforgotten miniseries, I figured I'd put out a new episode for this series to keep you occupied for a while. The Tails Doll made its first appearance in RG Sonic issue 231. Robotnik enjoys himself when he sees the roboticized Mecha Sally throw Sonic off of the Death Egg Mark II, only to be frustrated when he finds out that the Chaos Emerald powering the Death Egg has gone missing. So he makes a retreat, but
but not before leaving behind Projects Titan and Deadly Cuttles to try and do some damage on Mobile Metropolis. After the defeat of Titan Metalsonic, Green the Rabbit finds the Tails doll lying around in some rubble and takes it with her to take care of until she finds its owner. After being taken into the city, the Tails doll began a series of sabotage missions with its nanite destructor ability, such as trying to destroy the Civic Center, destroy a power generator in an attempt to disable the city's shield, cause some havoc to Mina Mongoose's concert, and try to destroy Castle Acorn. Eventually, Green begins to realize that with the doll's constant disappearances, and these attempts to destroy Nicole's nanite technology, this thing is more than just padding and stitches. She tells her mom that she's heading out to do some training with Team Freedom, and the Tails doll slinks away to try and cause more trouble,
Page 62,
only to
Johnny
be
Cage
spotted by
dies?
Team
Is
Freedom.
someone high?
As the doll uses the nanites to upgrade itself into a monster, the creature announces its
Looking
plans to
forward
not
to a
only destroy the
kinder,
power
gentler
plant,
outward.
but to also destroy the power scrubbers from the old Robo-Tropolis,
that
and unleash its radiation onto the city.
Round one.
But thanks to the Super Genesis wave, its master plan never became a reality. Which leads us into the new timeline, making its first appearance in issue 252. Now, this is where things get a little bit confusing, as it does pick up where we left off, but not quite. I'm not going to get into the whole deal about the memory tag because that's all rant for another time. So here's the gist. At one point, Robotnik created the Tails doll that caused havoc for Sonic and the Freedom Fighters, only to end up getting defeated. Later on, the Tails doll was rebuilt and sent to attack Mobile-Tropolis while the team were off on their own solo missions. Nicole contacted Sonic and Tails for help, and as they were getting ready to stop the creature, who was using its control gem to rebuild itself into a more stronger body, Robotnik launches the Genesis Wave, which leads to the whole Worlds Collide story. Later on, reality is restored, and we're back to where we left off. With the combined efforts of Tails and Nicole, they were able to stun the creature, while Sonic attacks its control gem, reverting the creature back to its doll form, and booted it out of the city. But it didn't take long for Robotnik to build a new one. This time, the Tails doll is sent on an undercover mission as it boards the Sky Patrol and hides inside the ventilation shafts. When it manages to create a video recording of the Freedom Fighters' plans to restore the Shadow Planet, it sends the message to Robotnik, who begins his own plans to thwart their efforts. For the Tails doll, the creature is instructed to give these coordinates to Paige, Robotnik's vicious virus program, to shut down the Sky Patrol's defenses and weapons. Tails quickly sends out a bunch of RC units to patrol the flying forces, only for T-Pug to find the Tails doll and brings it to his group. The last we see of the Tails doll is its power gem destroyed once again, tied up, and Sally states that she plans to hack into its programming to see just what Robotnik is up to. And that concludes the history of the Tails doll, aka Deadly Cuttles, a plush-looking robot that still acts as a dangerous threat. Now, it's pretty obvious that this interpretation of the Tails doll is more or less inspired by the internet's take. Welcome back to another episode of Archie's Sonic Character Files as we explore the histories of the inhabitants on planet Mobius. In this episode, we take a look at the history of Big the Cat.
Nothing will come between us.
I'll start with some...
Is that a proposal, Liu Kang?
A solemn vow.
Round one. Fight!
Say goodbye to tasteless protein and hello to delicious with Healthy Choice Power Bowls.
Welcome back to another episode of Archie's Sonic Character Files as we explore the histories of the inhabitants on planet Mobius. In this episode, we take a look at the history of the Southern Belle hybrid known as Bunny Rabbit.
It is not.
Well, this was a little intimidating to do because of how she's one of the more major characters in this series. Still, I think it's nice to finally get around to covering her full history in the comics. I'll be splitting this video up into chapters and taking some creative liberties in telling her history. As in, I'll be covering her history in terms of lore rather than in chronological issue number. So without further ado, let's begin. It It all began in the southern Baronies on planet Mobius, where Bunny was born. Her parents had died during the Great War, so throughout most of her childhood, she was raised by her grandparents, Uncle Beauregard and Aunt Lulame. As the years went on, she discovered that her parents had secretly been working for the Overlanders in the hopes of overthrowing the Kingdom of Acorn. Unwilling to believe this, Bunny runs away and tries to start a new life on her own. But she ended up picking up a bad time to do this, as the First Robotnik War was already going on. She had encountered one of Robotnik's robots before, and was rescued thanks to a young man known as Antoine. This would be the first of many encounters that she would have with him in the future, but the next time she encountered a SWAT bot, she wouldn't be so lucky. Which brings us to issue 3, Bunny's proper big debut in the comics. She's tending to her carrot patch until she's captured by some SWAT bots and tossed into a portable roboticizer machine. Sonic and Boomer, later known as Rotor, saw what was happening and decided to rescue her by shutting down the machine. While they managed to save her from being turned into a mindless robot working for Robotnik, they weren't fast enough in saving her legs, torso, and left arm from being roboticized. They take her back to Knothole, where she's fully recovered and seems to have embraced her new robotic limbs and giving her super strength, along with going under the new name Bunny Rabot. But the formalities are cut short as Antoine alerts the team that a giant barrel bot is destroying the forest. But the bot is soon taken care of thanks to Sonic and the additional help of Bunny. And with that, Bunny Rabot is accepted in being a member of the Freedom Fighters to help stop Dr. Robotnik's tyranny, and hopes to achieve her dream of being a hairstylist and one day become normal again. Which is funny because in the next issue it features her setting up a small salon within Knothole. Although,
oh yes, definitely higher. So let me get I'll get your pair of pants and then I'll get the purple.
Be gone, Mileena. You would banish me, sister? No, I will finish you.
Round 1. Fight!
I know. You know, it's like the
White and black.
Yeah.
Blue here and there.
Yeah.
I can already taste you.
Mileena wins.
Probably sentence more.
Do it, Mom, do it. Please do it, Mama, do it. Amy.
I know. It's okay.
but a Freedom Fighter's work is never done, as she continued on in helping Sonic, Antoine, and the others on more missions, such as recovering the roboticized Mobians who have been abducted by Robo Robotnik Mark II. Which leads us into Sonic Super Special Issue 11, where Bunny deals with one of many life-changing experiences. It's revealed by Dr. Quack that Bunny has grown weaker because her robotic limbs have begun to deteriorate, affecting her health, and will ultimately die if it continues on. Now she is left with 3 possible options. Either disconnect her robotic limbs, leaving her with no legs and an arm, try and find a way to go through the de-robotization process, even if the chances for surviving are slim, or upgrade her robotic limbs at the cost of losing the chance to be normal again. That night, Antoine checks in on Bunny as she struggles to make a decision. She asks him if he could still love her if she remains half roboticized for the rest of her life, to which Antoine reassures her that he'll always love her no matter what she looks like. And so, with the help of the scientist and Morgan, Bunny decides to have her robotic parts upgraded. Now the robot is back in action with her new and improved robotic limbs. After this, she would continue on having more adventures and missions, such as rescuing the citizens of Station Square from perfect chaos, helping Antoine find his lost father, having a tussle against Rouge the Bat, deal with a very rough encounter against the Sandblast Freedom Fighters, and be one of the many Mobians to take part in the war to stop the Zodar aliens from destroying Mobius. We then jump ahead 1 year, where Bunny is overjoyed to see Sonic has returned from his absence in space, after everyone thought that he died after the Zodar War. Bunny was still the same old southern gal, however, she's no longer in a relationship with Antoine as they parted ways months ago. Still, she continued on helping the Freedom Fighters and fighting the good fight against the second Robotnik and his robots. But behind all the action and adventures, Bunny was emotionally struggling to move on from the breakup with Antoine. She tried asking for advice from the Dear Allie's Love and Lost columns under the pen name Terribly Alone, and she even tried going out with Sonic the Hedgehog, although unbeknownst to her, she was actually going out with Scourge, the evil Sonic who had taken Sonic's place for a while. Life continued on for Bunny, with mission after mission, but her emotional struggles still lingered, especially after she hears the news that Antoine and Sally are going to get married. But it soon revealed that the man who broke up with her was actually Patch, the evil Antoine from Scourge's dimension, who had taken over Antoine's place on Mobius. With the help of Sonic and a teleporter device, Bunny was able to reunite with the real Antoine that she knows and loves. And whether it was dealing with Bean and Bar crashing Sonic's birthday, or going up against Mammoth Moogle and the Destructix, Bunny knew that she would be fighting alongside the man she loved. And outside of the battle, she was always there to comfort Antoine, who was dealing with his own personal struggles, such as dealing with the damage that Patch left behind, and saying goodbye to his dying father. And that they've had a lot of time to catch up, will their love continue to blossom, or will history end up repeating itself?
Mileena.
As the sun settled over the horizon, Bunny is now dealing with another life-changing experience. Antoine has decided to propose Bunny's hand in marriage, in which she happily agrees to. And so, the two are happily married. But their honeymoon will have to be put on hold as they end up being one of the many Mobians to be captured and sent to the Egg Grapes during Robotnik's victory of destroying Knuckle. But thanks to Sonic and a small team, they were able to escape and get teleported to their new home at New Mobotropolis. And Bunny begins to revisit her lifelong dream of being a hairdresser by helping Sally trim her long hair back to being short. Anyway, she helps out in destroying Robotnik's egg finger as payback for starring their honeymoon plans. After this, she was involved in a few more battles, such as fighting Scourge's team from trying to take control of Freedom HQ, and take part in the full-on frontal assault against the Egg Dome. After the defeat of the second Robotnik, the Iron Domain would come by to stir up some trouble, especially when the Iron Queen took control of Bunny's robotic parts to make them do her bidding, thanks to her Techno-Mage ability. Poor gal never stood a chance. Luckily, Monkey Kong was able to free Bunny from her control and was taken to Freedom HQ to recover. But knowing Bunny, it didn't take long for her to spring back into action to fight alongside her friends once again, at least while the Iron Queen was occupied with other things. Once the Iron Domain was defeated, Antoine and Bunny felt like it was long overdue for some R&R, so Tails offers to take them to Coco Island to finally have time to go on their honeymoon. But once again, plans are put on hold now that they have to deal with being captured by the Battlebird Armada. She is taken to meet their leader, Battle Cuckoo the 15th, as they believe she is a member of the Dark Egg Legion because of her robotic limbs. Bunny decides to go along with it and pretend like she's a member of the Legion, until her cover is eventually blown. In the end, she teams up with Antoine and Tails to take down the Armada and finally have their honeymoon in peace and quiet. After the vacation, Bunny was soon back in action again, this time teaming up with Sonic to help out with the Sandblast Freedom Fighters. However, their electrical force field causes Bunny to fly off course, and she soon finds herself in a Dark Egg Legion camp. There, she is reunited with her Uncle Beauregard, now going under the name The Baron. But the reunion is bittersweet, knowing that he now works for Dr. Robotnik. She is taking a tour of the campground, as the Baron explains to her that after they were all de-roboticized, the Sandblasters still treated them terribly, and with no other options, they turned to Robotnik for safety. This causes quite the conflict between the two freedom fighters over an oil refinery that the Dark Egg Legion was maintaining. Sonic wants to destroy it to help the Sandblast team, while Bunny confuses that she doesn't want her uncle to face Robotnik's wrath of failing. After fighting over their different views, they decide to just destroy the oil refinery, and she reassures her uncle that all of the blame for the Legion will be moved over to Bunny's side. And with that, Bunny has to tearfully say goodbye to her uncle. Things all went from bad to worse when Bunny had to deal with fighting Jeffrey St. John, who returned traitor and helping August become the new king of New Metropolis. Along with being caught up in the first Genesis frame created by Robotnik, now she seems to have found herself in an alternate universe where she's a normal rabbit trapped in a capital and hoping that her cousin brings the rabbit to save. All of this became nothing more than a faded memory of one supersonic restored Mobius back to how it was. It looks like things were back to normal, but as they say, nothing lasts forever.
Finish it.
With reality back to normal, Robotnik sends out Titan Metal Sonic to attack the city. Bunny Rabbot is sent into action to stop the metallic monster, while Nagus also tries to stop it as well. He destroys the machine with a blast of his crystal magic, but unfortunately Bunny was caught up in the blast, leaving almost her entire body encased in crystals. After being rescued, she is quickly taken to the hospital, where Nagus decides to try and make amends for that mistake by curing Bunny with his magic. But it looks like it works a little too good, because now she's no longer half rabbit, half robot, but a full-on rabbit once again. At first, she is overjoyed to see that she's back to normal after all these years, but the moment quickly dies down. Without her robotic limbs, she feels powerless and begins to question if she can still be a freedom fighter. Antron tries to comfort her and says that it wasn't the robotic parts that made her strong, but her courage and bravery. Which leads us into the next turning point in her life. The former